go to your website to pull up questions too. So,
Oh, cool.
yep,
Awesome.
indeed. So, let's see. We are live. Awesome, good stuff. Hey, everyone in YouTube land.
Hello.
Awesome, good stuff. My guests for Posit the Nod are Andrew Films. So, Alea and Brendan, nice to meet you in person.
Oh, nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Sarat. Thank you so much for having us.
You're
I'm glad to be here.
awesome. It's an honor to shine some light on the cool stuff that's happening in Volusia County. So, good stuff. How did you all get together and form Andrew Films?
Oh boy. Well, I guess Andy Films kind of goes back all the way to high school. Actually, I went to high school here in Daytona Beach, Mainland High School, and I was in a TV production class. And in this TV production class, we had a monthly show that was produced by students for students, and it would go out across the school. And for this program, it would be comprised of news sketches and comedy sketches and whatever the students wanted to produce, basically. And my first assignment was a scholarship video, so scholarship opportunities for juniors and seniors. And I wasn't very excited about this opportunity. I wanted to do something a bit more interesting, and definitely something more funny. So when I was trying to think about, well, what do I do about this boring topic? I'm like, well, what if I frame it like an old 50s infomercial thing, kind of that cheesy, your body and you, first and you. So I called it Scholarship Opportunities and You, and kind of framed the whole thing as this cheesy 50s style infomercial. And I love that whole experience. I just kind of kept doing that with videos, and it kind of served a dual purpose too. So every video I did in high school was something and you. And one good thing about that was you couldn't do opening credits on videos, so you could never do like directed by Brendan Rogers at the beginning. So egomaniac that I am, I'm like, what if I call every video something and you, so that when people see that title come up, they know it's my video. So that kind of trend carried over into college, and did a bunch of videos for my philosophy class. My philosophy professors let me do videos instead of write essays. So I was a dual theater and philosophy double major, and I did videos for philosophy, and it'd be like Descartes' meditations and you, 10's view of time and you, that kind of thing. And basically, the name and you Films has just kind of been in our vocabulary for such a long time. That just kind of carried over into our first feature film, and that was Flashback. And then after we made that, we kind of formed our corporate company, named it and you Films, and never looked back.
Awesome, fantastic. And you told me before we went on air, you started making films at 7,
Mm-hmm.
And what made you pick up the camera at an early age?
Oh gosh, I have been obsessed with films since before I can remember. I kind of grew up in the business. My dad was a member of the Directors Guild of America. He was an assistant director on things like Psycho 4. Oh, thank you very much. He worked on TV shows like Sequest and various other awesome projects. So a lot of my early memories are of backlots at the Universal Studios Hollywood, visiting him on set and stuff. So it was in my blood kind of thing. So really, the first chance I got to steal my dad's camcorder, I did, and I made my first video, which was T-Rex devours dad's Model City. I was very proud of this video. I got in big trouble for it, but that was kind of the genesis of it all. So yeah.
Awesome, T-Rex, and you mentioned that you did something with Power Rangers. Were you in that one too, Leia?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For Ranger Things?
Yeah, well, you produced it, absolutely, yeah. That's a whole chapter with ANU Films that goes back to 2017, and with our YouTube experiment. You want to talk about that a bit?
Sure, yeah. So after Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, which was their second feature film, which followed Flashback, their first feature film, we were trying to do our third feature film. And in the midst of, we had wrapped our third feature film, and before we wanted to start marketing that, we thought, you know what, it would be better to market on YouTube if we had an audience. Like you can't market a film if you don't have an audience to market to. So before we started marketing our third feature film, we thought, okay, let's try a YouTube experiment. And that experiment was, we're going to make a short comedic video, most likely a parody, every month, and we're going to do this for a year. And the budget for each video is going to be $500. So for us and our little company at the time, it was a $6,000 investment for the year to see where that would take us. And so the co-owners, Will Phillips and Brendan, brought me on board to, I guess all of us, to produce a short film a month, and that's what we did. And we started that in 2017. And when we started, we had about 2,000 subscribers, and then I think to date we have about 143,000 subscribers. So we've been working on it for a bit of time. 5 years. We really were head down and working hard and producing a short film every single month, and it became kind of a lifestyle, because that wasn't all that we were doing. That was during our off time, our downtime. So during our on time was running the corporate business. So Angie Films also produces corporate videos for University, Family Fun Town. It was a trade of services that we would produce a 15-second commercial spot for them if we could use their location, and they loved the idea, and I love trade of services. So that's how we were able to get that location for Chuck E. Cheese, which we saw earlier, was doing our corporate video for our creative projects. So we always say the corporate video is fun, the fun creative stuff, and the YouTube experiment took a life of its own. Again, we thought we were only going to do it for a year, but fortunately, or unfortunately, I don't know how you want to see it, our third video, which was a mashup of Alien and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, so it's Diary of a Wimpy Alien, really took off. Nothing we'd ever seen before, or at least I had ever seen before. I don't know if you've ever seen Tom Hanks's That Thing You Do, but there's this beautiful scene in That Thing You Do where the band hears their song on the radio for the first time, and they're like, oh my gosh, yes. And I'm not kidding, like in 2017, it was March of 2017 when April 2017 when Diary of a Wimpy Alien came out. And that first weekend, like, I remember we dropped it at noon, and by 5 p.m. it had 500 views. We're like, okay, that's great. But then an hour later, it had 1,000 views. Like, wow, it just got 500 views in an hour. That's pretty cool. And then an hour later, it had 2,000. And then it just kind of started steamrolling. And it was like that scene in That Thing You Do, where we were so excited, like, oh my gosh, this is happening. People are commenting, they're liking it. And the next day we woke up and it was like 24,000 views. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you got 24,000 views in a day. And we had a shoot to go to that day. So we're on set, and we were just all we're all on our phones, like looking at it. And so that's the modern day version of That Thing You Do scene, which takes place in the 60s. So yeah, it was really fun and exciting at the time. And we did it for about 5 years, and now we're looking to see what the next big project is.
Yep.
So the next big project is Spooky Empire.
Yes.
How did you all connect with Gina and Petey and the whole cast and crew?
Well, actually,
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, that kind of goes back to our second feature film. That's Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. So very serious drama, as you might expect. But no, we actually got to premiere Bubba the Redneck Werewolf at Spooky Empire back in 2014. And that was an amazing experience. Like the audience was incredible. Like a standing room, audience was great. And really the environment that you want to premiere a film like Bubba the Redneck Werewolf at. So we loved that whole experience, and we got to know the film festival director of that. Actually, that's kind of your connection. When we were kind of presenting and trying to market our first feature film, Flashback, at various conventions. So in talking about promoting Flashback, that got us in contact with the festival director, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so can I share a personal story?
Yeah.
It's not. Am I allowed to go personal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay. So when I moved back, I was on tour for a while. I started on camera as an actor. That's how I got into the industry, full-time actor. And then so as an actor, I was interested in behind the camera work, and I really wanted to get involved with Andrew Films. And Brenda and I were dating at the time. And I've tried very hardly, can I get on set? Can I help you out? Can I act? He said no, he wouldn't. He did not want me to be involved with Angie Films. He wanted that very
compartmentalize.
compartmentalize, whatever. So then I was like, okay, but I would want to. I love his videos. I actually, Impatient Lincoln that's an oldie if you go way back when, as before I started helping out. But I love that video so much that I really wanted to be involved. And but he wanted to separate his video life and his dating life, which I do understand. So I said, you know what, I'll help. What if I just start reaching out to cons in the area and see if they want to play Flashback? It already got distribution, is on DVD, but sometimes conventions like to have special screenings and whatnot. So I was just reaching out to see if anyone would be interested, and there were a few people interested in Kurt Donat, who was heading up the film festival at SuperCon, and he helps out with GalaxyCon and whatnot. So we started talking and sent him Flashback, and he wanted to play that, and we met, 2016.
Yeah, wow.
At SuperCon in Miami for Flashback, and Kurt and you have had a really great relationship ever since. We've visited him in the Galaxy Cons all across the country, touring and doing different panels, YouTube panels, talking about our YouTube experience, and how filmmakers can really use YouTube as a medium, because as filmmakers, a lot of filmmakers I meet, I feel like, look down on YouTube, but for us, it's been a great platform to get our work out there and to build an audience. So for filmmakers that look down on it, I really try to say, well, maybe give it a second look, because it is something that you really can use as a tool to get your work out there. And that's how we have been able to use it. And we've actually made more money on YouTube for our short films than we have for our feature films. So that's actually kind of interesting too, for those going into features versus shorts. So
yeah, no, it was interesting because we started the whole Anu Films, I guess, as a company, producing the first feature film Flashback, and YouTube was around at that time. I remember looking down at it, and I'm like, no, we're sticking to feature films. We're serious filmmakers, and we spent 9 years making that film. Because it was shot all in front of a blue screen. It was a huge labor of love, made with pocket change that we had at the time. And we got it represented at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012. It got distribution and all that. Like, it was technically a success story from an independent film level, but it was also so damn frustrating with, even though you have that distribution deal, you don't realize this as an independent filmmaker, but it's kind of on you to promote your own film. Like, even though you sign a deal with a company or whatever, you would think it's in their best interest to promote the film. They don't often do that. It's just kind of the initial deal, and then they kind of back off. So it was very clear to us that, like, the biggest hurdle really when it comes to making independent films is marketing. Like, 50% of the battle is making the film, and the last thing that filmmaker wants to hear is like, well, after you've made a great film, that's half the battle. Now the marketing battle starts. And that's a pain in the ass, and it's been a long kind of journey for us, and education for us, kind of learning what to do and whatnot. And really, YouTube, in our pursuit of trying to promote our feature film on YouTube, we kind of stumbled upon YouTube as a medium, and the fact that short films can actually be profitable on things like YouTube platforms. That's crazy. Like that in some ways, as a filmmaker, I think puts us with more similarities to somebody like a Walt Disney growing up in the 30s, when short films would play before feature films, and obviously you get money for that. So, like, it's really cool that filmmakers with relatively low budgets, low risk, can potentially get millions of people to watch their stuff on YouTube. Like, it's hard to break through, but the opportunity is there, and that's so cool.
And with YouTube as a way to market films. Touring the conventions was also a way to market the films. And fortunately, after Flashback had its convention run, we were producing a slew of short films because we were producing a short film a month for 5 years. So Kurt Donath, the film festival director of Spooky and many other film festivals at different conventions, would have us on tour with our YouTube shorts. And like I said, what we were saying earlier, we built a great relationship. And last year, circling back to your question, Sarath, with Spooky Empire, we took a journey to get there, but we got there. That was the director's cut. So, circling back to your question, Kurt and Andrew had built this wonderful relationship, and last year he had decided to step down. He had been running the Spooky Empire Festival for 5 years at that point, and it was he was focusing on GalaxyCon, so he wanted to spend his time doing that. And he asked us, he's like, there's no other team that I think would be better suited to run the Spooky Empire Horror Film Festival than you guys. And it's so funny because I've been really wanting to take the reins of a film festival for a bit. I just didn't know if it was that time because it's still the pandemic. And, like everyone, the pandemic was, we lived a lot of life during the pandemic. And it's like, do I want to do this now? But I think it came actually at the perfect time because it gave us a focus at a time that we didn't really have a creative project. And we've been really running with that. Kurt Donath built a wonderful foundation with the Spooky Empire Horror Film Festival. And we want to take that foundation and really grow it and make it a festival for filmmakers, by filmmakers. We're creating a lot of filmmaking networking events this year that we didn't have in years past. I have a huge committee helping me out this year. Kurt, God bless him, did a lot, most of organizing the film fest on his own. I cannot do that. I'm like, oh no, I need help. So I have a wonderful committee where, Brendan is the creative director. We have a commercial. That's something we never had a commercial for the film festival as a video production company. We had to make commercials. We're going to be making more promo spots for it. We have a media team this year, Guru Reviews, which is going to be there with their channel reviewing or interviewing the filmmakers. So I think that's awesome. We have Will Phillips. He's our technical director, who's also the co-owner of the company. My saving grace, who is our screening and programming director, and a lot of other things. Pretty much everything that I need help with. Nathaniel Falk, he's been wonderful in helping to organize the festival. We have Ann Berg on the team, who's our hospitality director. We have so many people on board, and so many, we just had a spooky committee retreat of 16 people in one Airbnb to watch the last 8 hours of submissions of films because I thought it was really important to get a committee to watch a submitted film. It's not one person watching it, judging it, because everyone's taste is different, and I want to have an accurate representation of who's going to be at the convention. So as a film festival director, which I was so honored to take on, Angie was wonderful to believe in me to take on that responsibility. But I thought it was really important and fair for all the films to have an audience to screen in front of. So it's not just one person making that decision of who's getting into the fest, who's getting nominated, and then ultimately who wins these awards. So we're bringing a lot of fun, I think, to the film festival this year, a lot of different activities. I would love for Sarath to join us. Your film was wonderful. It's an honorable mention this year, and we loved it. He interviewed the comics in the area, and we very much enjoyed that, and so much that we're going to go as a group to your Comic Fest October 5th through the 9th. So thank you so much, and we're really honored to take it on. I'm not going to lie. I'm really nervous because it's a big event. So I'm very much looking forward to planning year 2. Once I have 1 year under my belt, and I know I've got this. But no, it's going to be a great time. It's just celebrating film with a lot of awesome people and a lot of fantastic films this year, and it's going to be a great event.
Absolutely. I like the cast here, James and Randy and everyone. We just go to Spooky, even in Tampa, we went that 1 year. Yeah, it was good times. I just love how supportive they are too, and how you're supportive, and I'm so glad that you're taking the director's spot. It's fantastic.
And honestly, Alea is doing a fantastic job being a film festival director. Like it's kind of like what she was saying earlier. Like we own a corporate video business. We're doing commercials constantly, and the film festival is something that it definitely like we saw as an opportunity for us as a company to do, but I didn't know if we had the bandwidth to do it. And to be completely honest, without Alea, we wouldn't. So she's doing an excellent job, and she's being humble about it right now. But year one, I think, is going great, and I also look forward to year two. So, yeah.
Indeed. Oh man, and you're having the gatherings or the filmmakers at different. Have you picked any locations for those gatherings?
Yeah, so for the film festival, Petey and Gina love to keep everything at the fest if we can. So it's at the Orange County Convention Center this year, which is a wonderful venue after you find parking. So no, it's a great venue. What we're bringing, everything we're bringing, it's going to be to the fest itself. So we have an industry professionals panel where we have wonderful industry professionals. We have Jordan Woods Robinson joining us, who played Eric on The Walking Dead for 4 seasons. He's going to be on our industry professionals panel, so I'm excited about that. With Megan Borkus, who's a comic in the area, and does a she is, I feel like, on stage every single night, either in a play or a stand-up or improvising somewhere. She's amazing. Jennifer Bonner is a wonderful TV and film actress. And we have Tracy Frankel, who's been producing and a casting director for many, many, many years. And then after that, we have this wonderful mingling opportunity for anyone that's interested in the TV and film industry to come and meet the filmmakers that are there, meet the industry professionals that are there. What I think is really cool about this panel is all of these industry professionals live in Central Florida. So a lot of people that are aspiring actors, aspiring filmmakers, aspiring makeup artists think you have to leave the area to make that your career, and that's not true. I've been a full-time actor since 2014. I've lived right here in Central Florida. I travel a lot, but my base is here, and you can do it, and you can do it here. And if you want to meet people that do it, and they make that their living, you have a place to do that, and we welcome you. I have invited some wonderful people. They're kind, and they want to share their experience with you. So if you're an aspiring actor, makeup artist, anything in the industry, this is we have writers, full-time writers. We have an Emmy award-winning writer that's going to be there. An Emmy award-winning producer that's going to be there. It's just we live and breathe film, and I'm at the point where I just want to really help or mentor anybody that is aspiring and wants to grow in the industry and take it to that next level. You can do that and come to the Spooky Empire Horror Film Festival. You can meet myself, you can meet Brendan, and a whole lot of other industry professionals that want to help you do that too.
Awesome. I agree wholeheartedly with you. Like, you don't have to leave Central Florida. I mean, look, like Nickelodeon shows where you filmed in Orlando.
Exactly.
You know, and hopefully there's like a resurgence of sorts or something. And like there's this group called Jack's Film Bar Mondays, and they go to bars and they all meet up, like from producers, writers, actors, actresses, and it happens every Monday. And I'm like, wouldn't that be neat if like Daytona, Orlando and stuff have that too?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a network.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic.
And that's something we can host.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like bringing people together.
Because you never know who's going to be like the next Steven Spielberg, or or the next Andy Film.
I want to be the next Andy Film.
Can you film something?
Those numbers, when I saw them, I'm like, wowzers, that's just amazing that a company in Central Florida can do that and reach so many millions of people and they get so many subscribers. I'm like, I've had my channel for since 2009 with like over 1,000 videos, but it's just too many interviews, I think, and not enough stand-up clips.
I wish there was like a magic formula. I don't know if there is. I feel like it was a shock when the Alien hit. But I honestly think it's a persistence game too. Like I really respect what you do, and I respect the constant content. I know that's hard to do that, And for us, it was just kind of a persistence game. We did a lot of videos that no one gave a damn about, and we worked very, very hard on them. There's one video actually. We really thought it was going to be the one that hit. It was a combination of Game of Thrones and Minions. It was called Game of Minions, and we thought this is a surefire hit. How can this fail?
And we got medieval times as a location, like as a trade of services.
And the production value was incredible,
Right.
and it was such a pain in the ass to make too. We had to get to medieval times at like 4 in the morning, and had to wrap up before the tourists were coming in at like 6 p.m. So like we're running around like crazy in our minion costumes as like tourists are coming in and totally confused. It was a nightmare. But we're like, surely this will pay off. Surely this will be the big hit.
We're like, this is it. This is the one.
It didn't really do anything. I guess cumulatively it's done okay over the years, but like nowhere near what I think the pain and suffering that went into that. But so anyways, like I don't know why certain things hit. I don't know why Wimpy Alien hit at that time, but we were very lucky to do so. But again, I really respect what you do, and I respect how persistent you are on your channel. So thank you for doing that.
Likewise, I need to get back on that YouTube grind, and I'm like, I don't know, every once in a great while I'll throw something up there. I'm just so exhausted, but like you said, it's persistence. If you want to hit those millions, you got to keep doing it like at least once a day to upload or something. But
exactly, yeah.
And that's hard.
It's
very hard.
Indeed, and so I'll probably conduct more interviews with comics and filmmakers and stuff like that, and throw it up there, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
Yep. And so, speaking of Diary of Wimpy Alien, I saw my buddy Andrew in the flick. How did you collaborate with Andrew and also Minas too?
Oh gosh, Andrew and I have been good friends since high school. He was in some of the earliest ANU projects. We did a NASWagon ANU, and that was like a racing event, but with like radio flyer wagons tied to the back of cars. It was very dangerous and very stupid. But I think that was the first video Andrew and I did together, and pretty much like any opportunity to work with Andrew, I love. Andrew is hilarious. He's so talented, and he's one of my best friends. So really, honestly, any opportunity to get him in a video, and he's a tremendous talent too. He's very funny and a great actor. He's in the first feature film we did, Flashback. He's the lead character in that. He plays a tiny role in Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, and then, of course, in Diary of Wimpy Alien, like you said, he's one of the face hugger victims. And if you watch the series Wimpy Alien, in the later episodes, he actually plays Pennywise the Clown in a later episode. He plays a xenomorph character, Pennywise the Clown, but as a xenomorph in a later episode.
And he does the Freddy voice too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does the Freddy voice, the Freddy xenomorph. Yeah, so it's he's in a lot of projects, and of course Minas, he's hilarious too. Andrew got us in touch with Minas, and he was actually in Flashback as well. He plays a role in Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, and of course, any opportunity we can get to put him in a YouTube sketch, we like to. He's in a Game of Minions, the video I mentioned earlier. He's great in that. So yeah, no, like there's tremendous talent in this area, and I love how homegrown this company is, and I like working with homegrown talent. I really, really do. Like. If you can find the right people, if you can collaborate with the right people, I think the sky's the limit. I really do. Like Alea, I met her at the Orlando Shakespeare Theater. We were acting interns, and just blown away by her talent. She's such a talented actress, and then as it turns out, a very talented producer as well. And then Will Phillips, who he's the other co-owner of this company. I met him in a play at Stetson University. He's a tremendous actor, tremendous talent with that, and as it turns out, he's a tremendous writer. So again, like I think they're out there, but you gotta look for the right people and be able to collaborate with the right people, and then the sky's the limit.
Most definitely. Yeah, but it takes me back to like the first film I made called The Narcoleptics, and I call it the exploitation short films because I'm Asian, so I thought I'll put Asian in there. They're so awful, and so like every year for Fest, I did not come up with that name. I tried to change it, but my city won't. Like in Pueblo won't let me in Colorado. So we take my movies now, all my short films, and we just roast them like Mystery Science Theater.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just take the comics and like roast my movie. These movies are horrible.
You know what? Okay, I actually wanted to have a block this year like that at Spooky. Yeah. I'm like, it would be really fun to have local comics and to have a film. Like maybe we can use one of Andy's film. Like maybe we could play Bubba or something and have comics roast the film. As like I'm like that would be a really fun event to try to get people to.
But who would it not be awesome for?
The filmmaker.
Right.
So I thought going into next year, I would have a category that people can submit to, knowing that what they're submitting their film for. So so it's not a film that I'm randomly picking. Well, not it wouldn't be random. But
Congratulations, you got in.
No, we wouldn't do that.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
That's terrible.
Good stuff.
No, but they would know they're submitting to that category.
Yes.
I think that would be a really fun event, especially if it's because there would be no restriction on when the film was made. So let's say, you're a filmmaker that's been making films for 10, 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your first film you can make fun of. And you're like, you know what, make fun of my first film. Get out there. I think that'd be a really fun event. And especially seeing where people start and then where they are could be good for, again, people, aspiring filmmakers too. Because they might think, oh man, my stuff stinks. But then they see theirs and like, oh wow, theirs sucked too. And look at what they're making now. It's just, we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think highlighting that in a fun way at a festival could be, I don't know, a nice fun event.
I think so. It's good, like you gotta laugh at yourself, because it's. When I saw my buddies roast, I'm like, this would be a great idea because we couldn't roast actual movies because the rights and everything, and you have to write them and everything. And I'm like, well, I'm in charge of like most of these movies that I've made, and the first one I made was we had 24 hours to make a short film.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and so we did it in 12 hours, and we had 9 hours of sleep, or 3 hours of sleep. So it was like the worst. So, and it was on $25 budget, and none of it went to production. It was just horrible.
It went all with the coffee and Red Bull.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you watch it, you'll see where we had those HDV tapes. And so we rewinded over stuff we didn't need because we didn't know how to work editing software. Yep. So the first time the audience saw us when we saw it, and so it was just
oh my goodness,
it was so scary. So we ended up winning the award for best film to watch while stoned. So it was
hey, it's an award. That's great.
An award.
Actually, Andrew and I've never done a 24-hour film festival, but Andrew and I got a group of friends together and we did a 10-minute film festival.
Wow.
So it's like here's a camcorder, 10 minutes to make whatever. So it was quite terrible, but it was fun to do. But like those 24-hour and 48-hour film challenges, like my hat's off to you. Like I can't do that. Like that's. Oh my God, it's torture. It's so hard. but it's tremendous when like any project can come out of that. So hats off to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, but then just a crazy trip to LA happened, and I was like, oh, that's good enough for me. So,
that's cool.
Good stuff. And Roy, he's making sketches off of our jokes. So Roy, do you have any questions or vice versa? Or James? Do you have any questions for Andrew Films?
Somebody in the back.
Said you went to Mainland. Was Greg Cardino Mr. Cardino
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Greg Cardino. He really kind of opened the door for me in the TV production world. It was he's great. Yeah.
You can see him in It Perfect.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's in a few of our sketches. He's in the third episode of Diary of a Wimpy Alien. He plays a piano player that meets a grisly fate. And then he's in It Perfect with Alea. He's one of the co-hosts for that.
Indeed. And we know where Diary of a Wimpy Alien came from, and but how did you pick the title titles of your other films?
So with the YouTube experiment, we're like, okay, how can we really capitalize on the marketing? Because really that's the biggest challenge for independent filmmakers. Like we said earlier, you can make a great film, but if nobody's going to watch it, who the hell cares? What's the point? So we would look at films that were about 4 to 6 weeks coming out, like about before they hit theaters. So between 4 and 6 weeks before that.
That would be an ideal release date. For instance, Alien and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, they released sometime in May. We wanted to release 4 to 6 weeks, before that May release, to try to get anyone that's searching for that. Again, when there were theatrical releases, it doesn't. I guess our formula doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, no. We can give away the secret because it doesn't work anymore.
Go ahead.
Okay. But back in the day, this was the formula. Like try to pick the winning horses, so to speak. So
that's popular searches.
That seems like that's going to be a winner. That's a Marvel film that'll probably be really really big, and that's a horror film that seems to be coming out at the right time, whatever. So oftentimes we try to either do mashups, so you take two things that are completely polar opposites, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Alien Covenant, and combine them, or like with It Perfect. That's a combination of It and of course Pitch Perfect. So it's basically what if Pennywise the Clown tried to join an a cappella group. And it's ridiculous.
And Andrew plays Pennywise.
Yeah, Andrew's awesome in that.
Because
Yeah.
he's talented, he's a singer too, so he could play, a terrifying clown who can sing.
So sometimes the title will come first. So it's like, oh, that's a funny title. Let's write around the title. Or sometimes it'll just kind of it'll be a byproduct of the joke. We did one. It was a combination of Pokemon and Jumanji. And we were really trying to figure out a title for that that would roll off the tongue. And I think it was Will Phillips who said, what about Pokemonji? Like, well, that sounds ridiculous. Yeah, let's go with that. So yeah, it's kind of, I would say 50-50. Sometimes the title comes first and we'll work right around that. Sometimes it's the premise comes first and then we'll try to come up with a funny title.
I think the title that got the biggest eye roll from me when they pitched it to me was Thor Shagnarok. And that was, I think, all a title first, and then they wrote around that. Yeah, that got the big eye roll.
And that's of course a combination of Thor Ragnarok and Austin Powers, who likes to say shag a lot.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the whole joke. That's it.
It's such a stupid video, and it's so hard to produce.
That was actually shot on the back lot of Full Sail. So we had this awesome location, and actually, the whole premise is basically Thor, who is Austin Powers. So it's Austin Powers dressed as Thor. Is running around and basically making everybody dance happy. So he'll run around and kind of group by group kind of corral them over into a big musical dance number. And in casting this, Alea casts all our videos. She was like, how many people you want in this video? And I'm like, don't cap it. And you couldn't believe that. You're like, really? Don't cap it?
Okay, well, because we're working with a $500 budget. Okay, remember, all of our videos have a $500 budget, and he wants this huge dance sequence at the end with Thor, Shagnarok, Austin Powers combo. I don't know what it was, still to this day. This creature dancing with as many people as I could get behind him, dressed as different Marvel characters. Or than just random characters.
And God bless them, we got about 40 people to volunteer their time to do this ridiculous video. So it's a nice, huge, epic shot.
But again, it wasn't just like, oh, just go dance. Like, I had to get 40 people to learn a choreographed dance because he didn't want them just dancing in the street. It had to be a choreographed dance, which looks amazing. For this, and then of course we had to deal with weather because it's raining and. Oh my goodness! But I think you had it easy on that shoot.
That was.
I took the burden on that one.
Yeah, no, I honestly think the hardest challenge was getting Elaine on board with the premise. After that, like it's like, okay, yeah, go off and teach them the dance. Go do the work, and then they came out there and do the dance. It was great.
All you had to do was film.
That's right. I hit record, and that's it.
That's awesome.
But I hate to admit it, that is one of my favorite videos that we have. It always puts a smile on my face, and whenever we have a chance to show our films, that's usually I end off with that one, or that's towards the end, because I think it puts a smile on your face. At least it does mine.
Yes, and I guess that was one of those. That it must have been the name that came first, because it wasn't two properties that were popular at the time. Like Thor Ragnarok was, but I think Austin Powers hadn't been in theaters for a very long time. So.
No, that's when we were actually borrowing costumes from Penguin Point, and so there were some high school volunteers there, and I was telling them the idea, and they were like, "Austin Powers, is that a period piece?" So I knew that no, we weren't really hitting it with that demographic, at least. So maybe we would with the Thor Ragnarok. But I'll let you guys do.
That's awesome. But did you have like Mini Me and Dr. Evil dancing too? Or?
We had Loki acting as Dr. Evil.
Awesome.
Clearly, that's where that storyline was going. We should have done a Mini Me. That's a great idea. Damn it, we missed that part. But we had a Fat Bastard cameo. That was the Hulk dubbing as Fat Bastard. That's Minos. He's very funny in that. And then, of course, Greg the Wimpy Alien makes a brief cameo in that. And I think that was our way of trying to boost the views on Thor Shagnarok, because anything with Greg the Alien always did well on the channel. So
for a period of time.
For a period of time, it did.
That was like when we saw like Diary of a Wimpy Alien and like the animation on the notebook and all. Did that take forever, or how did you do that?
Oh, yeah, that's actually the work of our good friend John Mondelli. He's been working and part of ANU Films really since the beginning. I went to high school with him at Mainland. He was in the same TV production class that I was in. Worked with Greg Cardino, and he's a very talented filmmaker and animator. And really, he was kind of involved when we were coming up with the idea for that. So he's been doing the animation for that series ever since. We're actually hopefully towards the end of this year going to release the final episode of the Diary of a Wimpy Alien web series.
Not hopefully, it's happening. We are getting it out.
And John's been doing the animation in every single episode so far, and actually his wife Audra Mondelli, she's the voice of Greg Zeenle, the alien, and of course Alea over here is the body of Greg Zeenle. So like anytime you see the Wimpy Alien in any of the videos, that's poor Alea having to suffer through wearing that crazy mask. Which, by the way, okay, in the scene where Ripley gets impaled by the double jaw by Greg Zeenle, that's me in the alien mask.
Because I'm playing Ripley.
Because you're playing Ripley. So I can tell you from experience, you can't see anything in that mask. You are completely blind, and God help you if you're outside, because you're just pouring sweat. It's brutal, right?
That is true. I actually, when we were doing Diary of a Wimpy Alien, it was just supposed to be a one and done kind of thing, because we didn't know it was going to have the kind of numbers that it did. And so I was really trying to find an actor to play Greg. It wasn't supposed to be me, but it's hard to get someone to play a masked character for no money. At the time, we didn't pay our actors. We do now. But then we did. It was $500 budget. And to a masked actor, saying, hey, you don't get any FaceTime, and I want you to be in mask because you're on screen a lot. not too many people were down for that. So as a producer, if you want the project to happen, you say, okay, well, what are we going to do? And we looked at all the producers, and they said, well, Alea, you have the wimpiest body, so or the wimpy alien. And something I don't like to share, I guess I don't share, but for 4 years I worked and animated at a Universal, so like the head character. So it's Jimmy Neutron and Sam I Am and Thing 1, Thing 2 and Woody and Winnie Woodpecker and all that. And I never thought that I'd go back to my animated character days, but Angie Films got that out of me. So Universal trained me, and Angie piggybacked off that. So
they were training you for this opportunity to be Greg Senior.
But the thing is, when Ripley started coming back, we had to get doubles for the Greg
That's right.
character because Ripley had more on screen time, and you can't have Ripley and me. So we then had to get somebody that was my height and my body type, and that then became a paid role because you know if we wanted to make these episodes, so those people should have done. And then I never would have had to suffer. Oh well. But no, that's when you want to do it. You know, if it was either me jump into the role or we're going to do Diary of a Wimpy Alien. So I wasn't going to have that happen. And I'm not going to lie. No, I'm holding on to the microphone. It's mine. You make me sweat as Greg. I get this. No, I don't like to share this either, but I have a lot of fun doing it. I'm a movement-based actor. I love to dance. I love to move. I love stage combat. So playing an alien and creature is awesome. And my favorite part ever in Wimpy Alien is when I got to be thrown into a table and it crashed. It was a little bit awesome. So the fight scenes are always my favorite with Wimpy Alien because the challenge is doing it blind with a mask and pretty hot too. So it's I complain and whine about it, but if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it at least as often as I had.
Was the process of putting the whole costume on take forever, or?
You can talk about that because I'm just there like this.
Yeah, actually, it's I guess the biggest pain both for the person kind of helping Alea get into the costume, but also I guess for you as well, is that we realized that the mask doesn't really look great unless it's tucked into the shirt. So which prevents any kind of sweat to escape the mask.
It's circulation.
Just pure circulation inside the mask. So that's a pain trying to make sure that's all tucked in. And of course, any kind of major movement from Greg, oftentimes will pull the mask out of that flap. So
sometimes you safety pin it
Yeah.
for like the fight scenes and stuff to make it stay.
Yeah.
So it stays on, but then you're stuck in it. So.
Movie magic.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, okay, something. Also, there's certain things, and he's allowed to do this. Like we're married now, so he's like, I guess we can use and abuse each other now. But there's one time Greg had to be under the water and then pop up. But this is in episode 3. The thing is, I mean, there's a lot of air in this flippin' mask, right? So
It's a big dome.
It's a dome. It's a xenomorph head. So like when you put it under the water, it doesn't want to sink. And he was like behind the camera. And Alea, it's got to go under the water. And I'm like, Brendan, it is not going under the water. I don't know what you want me to do. And he's like, well, I'll do it. And I'm like, I'm really competitive, and he is too. So I was going to have that. But I'm like, I might need some help. So Will got behind the camera. Brendan got in the water to hold me down under the water to get the shot. And he's like, tap me if too much water gets in your mask. And I'm like, so that's how we got that shot. And I kept tapping you, but you didn't let me up because we didn't have the shot yet.
Pain is temporary. Film is permanent. No, she was fine.
I know. I still married you. So I don't know.
Awesome. And
Anyway.
how's the land treating you in Volusia County and just filming locations all out Central Florida?
Oh my goodness. I love DeLand. I've lived there since I was 7 years old. It reminds me a lot of Hill Valley from Back to the Future, which is one of my favorite films. And I honestly think that, like, because when we first moved here, my family moved from LA over to Florida during the Hollywood East times, they called it, when the Universal Studios were first built, and what was called the Disney MGM Studios back then were built as well. And there were a bunch of Nickelodeon shows filming here, different movies and stuff. So like it was really, really exciting to see all of that grow up here. And unfortunately, midway through the 90s, the film business really dried up. And I never understood that because I honestly think Florida is a tremendous place to film a movie. I honestly think unless you need snow and mountains, Florida has it all. They have all different geography looks, and the infrastructure is tremendous here. The weather is great. I don't know. I love filming in Florida, so I'm very passionate about making sure that our films are done here. And I love a town like DeLand because it's a wonderful, beautiful, small community. They've always been very supportive of our film projects. We've had both of our feature films have screenings at the Athens Theater in downtown DeLand. They're awesome over there. So yeah, no, I love this area, and to be honest, I love Daytona too. Like I said, I went to Mainland High School, so Daytona is like my second home, and most of my good friends live over in this area. So yeah, I love this area.
Same here. I love the Nog and James and Roy performing stand up and stuff.
Love you guys.
Yep. I couldn't have done this without you all. And I love. Which part of LA were you born and raised in? What part of your life?
A tiny town called Montrose, suburb of LA, which is every town near LA. But yeah, no, about an hour, 45 minutes away from LA proper, and that's where my dad worked. At Universal Studios and Warner Brothers and stuff like that. So. I love the West Coast. I do like California. I understand, like when you do the history of film, you realize Hollywood, they tried to establish it here in Florida initially before they moved to the West Coast, but they were actually chased out of Jacksonville, actually, by people that thought the film business was immoral and wrong to have in this area. So they relocated in Hollywood. So I understand, like, if you can't film in Florida, yeah, I guess California is a good second choice. But I've always thought that, I don't know, Florida is a wonderful place to produce films.
I agree wholeheartedly. It's a great place. And when I lived in LA, I lived in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
And but when I did my internship, I lived in Palmdale. And so it was just like an hour and a half, like without traffic and like 3 highways. I'm like, this is just horrible. But I had to do it 5 days a week if I wanted that dream to come true. So it was all worth it. Yep. So I don't even know where Montrose is. So is it like right by like Lancaster and Palmdale, or like right San Bernardino, or?
I really should know better than I do, but I'm just going by my sense of geography when I was, 3 or 4 years old.
Oh,
so I don't know.
We'll Google it later.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yep. I just stayed on the Sunset Strip almost every night because I was a concert journalist in LA for like 2 years.
That's awesome.
Yep. With 150 shows, I was just living the dream.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a wild time for sure. I had to do something with my nights. So,
Yeah.
so,
That's so cool. That's awesome.
yeah, I loved it, but I didn't want to go deaf. That's the thing. Loud music, crowd yelling. I'm like, this is horrible. Yeah. Awesome, and wow, I'm just so thankful that there's actually a film community here, and hopefully it continues to blossom, and hopefully there's more studios that pop up, because when Nickelodeon was like no longer filming stuff here, I was like so bummed. There's no more all that, and I grew up on that stuff and the slime and everything. Do you have a favorite Nickelodeon show for the both of you?
Oh man, gosh, let me think.
Hey, dude.
Oh God, I loved Hey Dude. I loved. I think I loved Double Dare. I love Double Dare, and we were talking about it earlier. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I love that show. I named like 3. I cheated. I'm sorry. The Saturday lineup. That was my favorite. Snick.
Yeah. I actually, one of my first film experience ever was on Universal, and it wasn't on a Nickelodeon show, but it was a CBS show. It was a game show that ran for 1 season called Secrets of the Crypt Keeper's Haunted House. And it was a children's game show, but based off the HBO show Tales from the Crypt. which is very strange, but you should totally look it up. It's a real thing. And as a rising fifth grader, somewhere between fourth and fifth grade, I was lucky enough to be on the pilot episode of Secrets of the sorry.
Secrets of the Crypt Keeper's Haunted House.
Thank you. Had one too many.
I got you.
And that was a lot of fun. That was my first time on the back lot of Universal, and I met I guess I didn't meet them. I saw them walk by, Keenan and Kel, because they were shooting there too, and it was really cool. It opened my eyes. I thought it was just what a great experience. I didn't ever think I'd be back, but the sound stages are great. Unfortunately, they're starting to bring some television shows back to the studios to film there, and I hope they continue to bring more. Right Stuff season 1 was filmed there. A little bit, and I hope David Makes Man, I know seasons 1 and 2 were filmed there, so I hope they continue to bring more film back to Florida, because like Brendan said, it is a wonderful place to film, and come back, guys, come back, we're awesome.
Absolutely, I agree, and I can't wait to have Are You Afraid of the Nog and part of the Midnight Society.
Yes.
I didn't know the Crypt Keeper had a show for kids, and the show that scared me other than Are You Afraid of the Dark was Legends of the Hidden Temple, where the people scare you out of nowhere. That's horrible.
That's what this show was trying to be. It was trying to compete with Legends of the Hidden Temple. So at the end, where at Legends of the Hidden Temple they had the temple that you raced and whatnot. This had a haunted house, so which they probably used from there, or when you think of it as probably Horror Nights haunted house.
Yeah,
but they used when you think to save money and whatnot, because it was produced at Universal. And it was.
I think you're right.
So, and you had to collect skulls is the big thing. Whoever collected the most skulls won that one. So that was it.
That's awesome. I gotta look up past episodes because I remember watching Tales from the Crypt, and it was just the scariest thing ever. Especially with the Crypt Keeper, and between each scene, or certain parts, you just be the intermission and stuff and talk, and that would even scare me after commercial breaks or whatever.
And he was on the game show. I guess they filmed all his stuff in LA though, so I didn't get to meet the Crypt Keeper, and I was really bummed about that because I thought it was, but I didn't. No, all his stuff was filmed in LA. But you're right, it's a weird thing because it aired on Saturday mornings, 10 or 10:30 on CBS, and it was this game show with Tales from the Crypt. This weird thing, but I loved it. It was fun.
Indeed, he was here a couple times for Spooky, and I remember he had a panel or something, and he would record voicemails, message for folks that paid him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome to hear his voice doing all the voicemail message for the people that called in. So that's good stuff. Do you have a favorite Tales from the Crypt episode?
Oh man. Well, it's not an episode. I do love Demon Night, the movie.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Actually, my neighborhood friends growing up, that was one of the videos that we tried to recreate in our backyard. And this is, of course, before YouTube or any reason to do short films. I don't know why we were doing this, but we were very passionate about it. We wanted to recreate Demon Night. So I don't think we actually ever finished that project, but I like that film. Billy Zane is awesome in that.
And
How about you?
Jada Pinkett was in there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I never remember titles of episodes, but because I started watching Tales from the Crypt when I was 5, so probably too young to watch it. But I had young parents; they didn't care. But gosh, there's 2. The Santa one, which terrified me as a kid because it's Santa, and I still, I believed in Santa, and I'm like, well, that's not really Santa. He's scary Santa. So that one really scared the crap out of me. And the one, it was this. With Ted Danson, I think he was in it, and it was this. He was having an affair with someone, but then the guy. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, it was Cheers.
No. The guy found out, or that he was sleeping with a wife, and then he drugged him and then buried him in the sand or something, and where his head's above the sand, and when the tide comes in, he drowns in the water. That's all I remember that image. That's a cool image. So the Ted Danson one. It probably is Ted Danson, but in my memory, it's Ted Danson. 5-year-old Alea remembers it as Ted Danson. So.
I remember that one. I think it was part of the movie or something.
Is it the movie?
I think so.
That's what I remember. Who knows?
I can't remember either.
Again,
something.
That was over 30 years ago. So.
Indeed. Yeah.
I know.
That's the one. We did Demon Night. Like I was on the Clive Barker podcast for the second time around,
Oh, cool.
and we had to do the audio commentary. So we were all on Zoom together, and we talked about
That's
it.
really cool.
Yep. So it was I snuck in, like, there was Grave Diggers from the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan. That was his horrorcore group, and he did the song 1-800-Suicide, and you can hear the instrumental in the movie. And so, like, this is so neat.
That's
So,
really
I
cool.
love that soundtrack. I listened to that song.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, no, I love Demon Knight.
Indeed, same here. Like, Randy, I think you just showed up. Hey, Randy, how are you? That's the producer.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Randy.
Randy.
And so he's awesome. He's always supporting us with the festivals and the comedy too. And we need, this is the mecca of creativity. So this is why there's so much cool random stuff on the wall, and it's great. And we can say the most like they save me for the end because they say the most wild outlandish things. This is great for, like, you can say whatever you want, but I'm not hateful, but I just like to get people to be like there's like saying, like, making noises that are like you don't usually hear at a comedy show, like get them all disgusted. Blood curdling noises. It's like that's what I'm aiming for. Like, I don't want the laughs anymore. I just want you to just be grossed out. So.
Going for the reaction. So, who's some of your favorite comics?
I love the locals, of course.
Mhm.
Joe Coy is like one of my favorites because he did the nicest thing for me. I put it in the movie for the Spooky Empire.
Yeah.
Yep, and I was like, this guy is so awesome. He didn't have to do that. I just went up backstage and told him, hey, there's not a lot of Asian comics, and you mean the world to us. Like, speaking on behalf of myself. And he goes, what are you plugging? I'm like, my festival's coming up. And so he goes, all right, 13-second video. He shoots it. And I didn't even ask for it. I was like, this is so awesome. And so he just did that for me, and now, like, it's like the only comedy festival with Joe Coy's approval, and he thinks I'm funny. So like that's great. As graphic as I am, I just love getting down and dirty. Like, Roy knows. He saw me performance on Sunday, and he was like, "There's a song that I do about loving yourself," and he's just like, "I'm so glad you got to perform. You should come here during the festival." Like, sometimes they like hold their lights up and sing along and finish their lyrics. And I'm like, I feel like Axl Rose up here. This is fantastic. But they just sing along to the most vile lyrics ever, and it's just so great. I mean, it's magic. I don't know what it is, but it's our magic kingdom out here. So it's awesome. Yeah, there's a couple others, but Joe Coy definitely stands out because he didn't have to do that for me. I didn't ask, but it's like, let me see your phone, and then he just took random photos, and I'm like, I'll take that, sure, why not? So that was nice. So it's been a lucky trip.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Are you so like the fact that you're after like specific like responses from your audience? Do you like Andy Kaufman or anything like that?
It's funny you say that because, like, when I was doing my apprenticeship out in LA, and I started off in horror, as you saw in the movie, and Clive goes, before you leave, can you promise me to do stand up? Because I go back to the studio with like these funny stories. He goes, you should try stand up. And I'm like, all right. So I go to the Jump Cut Cafe in Studio City, and it used to be open, and they had an all arts open mic. And I have a superhero alter ego, which is Wu Manchu, which is a superhero alter ego for Wu-Tang Clan, because of my interaction with the Wu-Tang Clan and RZA and stuff. And Randy's my handler when I go to conventions, because I'm like the only Wu-Tang superhero walking around in all these conventions. Everyone else is dressed up as Freddy and Jason and all that stuff. And here I am, just Wu-Tang superhero, just walking around. I switched from, I only have 5 minutes, and I switched to Wu-Tang, and then I went outside, and I switched into my Rage Against the Machine shirt, came inside. And the host goes, hey, where did that superhero go? I need him to do 5 more minutes. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. And so he goes, I'm his manager. He goes, are you pulling an Andy Kaufman on you? I'm like, yep, I'm pulling an Andy Kaufman on you. The whole Tony Clifton thing and good stuff. So I was like, I guess I am the Andy Kaufman, because sometimes back in the day, I'd be myself, sign up, and then like when Zach was running anything in Minas and it was like DJing, Minas, and I came back and signed again as Wu Manchu and did superhero jokes. So I did my dirty set in the beginning, then I did my clean sets in the end, and I'm like, oh, this is how you get 10 minutes out of a 5-minute mic. So,
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I'm glad you brought up Andy Kaufman because I watched Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey. He's one of my favorite actors because the way he moves his face is just amazing.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. Like when he I don't know, I also love a lot of his insightful speeches he gives, various YouTube videos and whatnot. But yeah, no, he's a tremendous talent for sure.
Indeed, most definitely. So we have reached the 1 hour mark. And how much time can we? If this is cool with you.
Oh boy.
You do have a corporate shoot tomorrow.
Oh.
We gotta
That's
pay
true.
the bills.
I'm so glad I was able to get you some press and some exposure. I know it's not much now, but hopefully it gets like 4 million views on YouTube.
Oh,
Oh my
no,
gosh,
we
no, thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us. We're honored, honestly.
I'm honored to have you as my guest too. And any late questions before we wrap up? Awesome, fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And the music. Thank you, Andrew Films. Thank you to the nOg. I'm glad you got to meet the cast and crew here that runs the ship. I can't wait to see you.
And thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for having us. Like as soon as I got your email, I'm like, yes, I would love to go. So
That's awesome.
thank you.
Indeed. I'm putting my journalism degree to work. That's what I got my degree in. So.
Awesome.
Yep. And they just had a screenwriting class, and that's the reason why I picked that that major was like screenwriting. Okay, we gotta get out of this college. Can't stand it. So that's great. Awesome. So much. Thank you so much. And follow and like and subscribe to Andrew Films on the description box below. Buy your tickets to Spooky Empire. Come to the festival. Support the filmmakers. Can't wait to see you all there. And thank you so much for having an honorable mention for the short film.
Thank you. Thank you for submitting.
You're welcome. Thank you, and we'll see you next time at Pod at the Nog, and we'll see you next time. Be well. Awesome. Take care.
Yay!
Awesome.
Yay, Sarah!